All right.
All right.
All right. So welcome to Unapologetic and Free. You don't know my story. I am Lekia.
And I'm Shar.
We're
Hi.
sisters by blood.
And friends
Oh.
by choice.
Yes.
Okay.
Welcome. So today we are excited about our special guests that we have. I'm not going to delay the time. I'm just going to go ahead and introduce them. Today we have Gregory and Toyre Gray. They met in 1994, 28 years ago. They were married on December 27th of 2004. They came to San Antonio, Texas in 2018, and they both lived in the Victory Gospel Spiritual Growth Center. And their lives haven't been the same. They then joined Victory Gospel Chapel, where they were promoted to evangelists 3 months ago. Their ministry, Golden Triangle Ministry, was birthed in 2019, reaching out to souls not only in Southeast Texas, but in Sisabe and the Houston area, or wherever there are lost souls. They are soul winners for the Lord. The Grays they both graduated from Sonship School of the Firstborn. The Grays are also entrepreneurs. They are the co-owners of GT Sweet Tooth Candy, where they make pecan, walnut, peanut brittle candies, and they have 3 sons. Welcome. Please.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thanks for having us.
welcome.
Yeah,
We
we're
are
excited to be here.
to have you.
Thank you.
All right. I'm excited. Let's hear what you got to say.
Share your story with us.
Okay, now, in 1994, I actually saw Gregory in, I think they call him a trap house now, but it was a guy's house that was actually his classmates. And I saw him through this little crack in the door. And I don't think at the time that he was using, I think he was clean then. And I just, and this is raw and uncut, but I just wanted to be with him. And that was it. I thought. So anyway, I tipped down the front stairs when I saw him about to leave. And I got in front of him because I had on a very short dress and I was trying to attract him. And I did.
Right.
And he said,
It's been so long ago.
he said, excuse me, ma'am. He said, I'm not trying to be too forward. He said, but what do you have on under that dress?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
And I bent over and said nothing.
What?
And that's the unapologetic truth.
Amen.
Come on.
And so he did ask me out on a date, but me with my sick thinking at the time, because I was a prostitute. And he asked me on a date, and I thought he meant date and get me some money, and I was gonna go. But that Friday he said that he would be there at 5 o'clock, I think, but he was there at 12, and that date lasted 3 days.
Okay.
Yes.
3 days.
He had everything I needed, and he sang to me and just
Y'all got me blushing, and it's just
now I wasn't used to that. I mean, like I said, I was a prostitute, and like I said, he had everything I needed, but I wasn't, for a whole long time, I wasn't interested in it. And we just talked, and he had candles lit, and he treated me like a lady, and I wasn't used to that anymore. And like I said, it lasted. Matter of fact, I later on that night, I was like, do I smell or something? You hadn't even tried to ask me to go to bed with you. And he said, I wasn't really interested in that. When I said I wanted a date, I wanted a date. And that did something to me right here. So then, like I said, it lasted 3 days. And when he was walking me down the stairs, matter of fact, I actually had a boyfriend and I was married to another man. So hello. But long story short, he said, I think I fell in love with you. And I was like, the first thing I said was, I must have been good. I still had that sick thinking after this man had, was so good to me. I still didn't understand that he was really telling the truth, so anyway.
So after that, I started back using, and we had a mutual friend who had kids, and we used to go to her house and get the dope, and we'd go out and sell it. But we'd go our separate ways, or whatever. But we would always meet back up. And it got one night, the Jump Out boys came to this house where we were. All this lady's kids were there. She and I, her oldest son, and her. Now, we had been up, say, 3 or 4 days. And so I made a suggestion. I said, look, we got all this money and all this stuff. I say, let's go get some rest. So we went, and she had this huge bed. It was bigger than a king size bed. She had a huge, so we all ate breakfast and everything, fixed food for the kids, and everybody went to bed. Lo and behold, early that morning, they had policemen kick in the front door, the back door, and they were coming through the windows, the Jump Out boys. And they lined us all up in the living room, paraded us through the house naked. It was crazy. They come in with the guns blazing, ready to kill somebody. And at the time, I had been on probation, and if I was to get in any more trouble, they can give me anywhere from up to 99 years, because I'd been caught selling drugs before, and I took this adjudicated probation, which carries 10 to 99, and I knew that day that I'd probably never see any of them again. And but lo and behold, God still had a plan for my life, and they didn't find anything. They did not find anything.
Nothing.
Wow.
And
I still have a question about what are Jump Off boys? I'm not familiar with that at all.
It's the police.
It's SWAT, bad boys.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, y'all.
They had been watching that. It was a ring.
Yeah.
It was a ring. But I didn't know it was a ring. I didn't know nothing about that. All I know is I wanted to get high, and she had it.
Yeah.
And all I had to do was watch the kids. But he was basically, go out and do whatever needed to be done. But I basically was just a house girl. So I didn't understand. I had never been in trouble. I didn't understand all that, And so I was petrified. I didn't know what was going on.
It was really crazy. When they came in, it was like 3 or 4 of them. They took this whole bed and picked it up and turned it over.
And I was on it.
Yeah, I was myself, her, the lady, and her son. They turned the bed over on top of us. We was on the floor, and then the bed ended up on top of us. It was real crazy. They were coming through the windows. They come in the bus, and thank God they didn't find anything.
Nothing.
Not a thing.
But
they ended up taking her to jail anyway, and they ran checks on everybody, and I thought I was going to jail. But they didn't take me to jail because I hadn't a warrant been put out for my arrest at that time. But if they would have found something, I would have went to jail.
It was in the washing powder.
Yeah, it was hid. But
wow.
Yeah, the dogs couldn't.
The dogs couldn't even smell it.
Yeah, they were tripping. They didn't know what was going on.
But all in all, I can see what God had His hands on me and her. All through all of that. I ended up going to prison, to jail. still messing with these same people in this dope ring and the stuff that we were doing. But you know, it got to a point where I wanted to stop and I couldn't stop. And no matter what I did, I always held a job. I always took care of, you know, myself and stuff like that. But I always went back and I couldn't understand, you know, why. You know, but I know why now, you know. It was, you know, I was under the control of the devil, as I put it, you know, and I couldn't break free. You know, I grew up, you know, my mom and dad, and grew up in a good family. Didn't want for anything, but I turned to that life. You know, my mother was a school teacher. My dad worked at a refinery, but I always hung out with, you know, out in the projects, you know, doing what I wanted to do or what I thought I wanted to do. I was a straight A student, went to college, got 42 hours in electrical engineering. But I think the turning point in my life was when I was 18 and I found my mother dead. She had a heart attack, and she had just picked me up from work on a summer job, and my whole world went away. I mean,
So would you say that traumatized you?
Yes, it did. Right today I can say that, you know, and for a long time I didn't cry. I got 6 other brothers and sisters, and come to find out that my mother, I was the only one my mother told that she only had 6 months to live. She didn't even tell my dad, and
Wow.
that really tripped me out, you know, because you know sometimes my mother couldn't sleep at night, and she'd come wake me up and take me riding with her, and we just ride around the neighborhood, you know, different places. And I end up falling asleep in the car, and we end up back at home. But she and I were really close, and for her to tell me this, you know, and this happened my senior year in high school in December, and 6 months later, my mom died, and I was
So what
only
order
one.
are you? Are you the
Huh?
oldest, the
No,
youngest?
I'm number 4, and I got 2 younger brothers, and a brother and a sister that's younger than me. And you know, and my mom picked me up from work on a summer job. We got home, and as usual, I'd go, as I take my shower or whatever, I'd go grab the newspaper and, you know, read. And she called me and gave me the sports section because that's, you know, that's the part of the paper that I like. And my dad was outside mowing the yard. I'd never forget it. And all my brothers and sisters were gone. Where they were, I don't know. You know. So anyway, I heard a noise in her room, and I didn't get up and go see what the noise was, you know, because my mom, you know, she'd move furniture around in her room, or, you know, stuff like that. But then when my dad came in the house, she asked me, said, "Where's your mom?" I said, "She's in the room." And he walked right past me, and he hollered, he said, "Greg." And I jumped up because I could tell something was wrong by the sound of his voice. And my mom was laying on the floor right by her bed. And I blamed myself so many years for her death because I felt like if I'd have got up when I first heard that noise, that she'd still be alive. And I blamed myself for so long. And I had to come to the realization that I'm not God,
Right.
that I couldn't. But then, you know, that's just like a lie that the devil would tell me, it's your fault. It's your fault.
Right.
And my dad had a meeting with all of us one day, you know, after my mom's funeral, and was telling us what we were going to do and how he was going to spend the insurance money. He was going to pay for the house and do this and that. And I asked him, I said, "Well, did mommy ever tell y'all this? You know, she only had 6 months to live." And all of them looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, "Daddy," he said, "No." He said, your mother told you that?" And I said, "Yeah." You know, and for, you know, many years, I felt like it was my fault. You know, and till somebody told me one day, "You're not God." And I'm not God. It wasn't nothing that I could do. When God called her, it was time for her to go. And I had to come to that realization. But I think that's one of the reasons why I used drugs so, you know, the way that I did, because I felt so guilty, you know, of the things, because she was gone and she was my best friend, if you can understand where I'm coming from.
Mhm.
But back to with Toyre, um, my mom used to get us all, and we'd go to church in Beaumont, but we lived in Orange, and that's like 25 miles away. So the church that my mom was raised in is the same church that Toyre went to. Matter of fact, she lived right across the street from the church.
Yeah.
And I've been to that church
Many times.
I know during my younger life over 100 times on Sunday morning, and I don't remember ever seeing her.
Ever. Ever.
I mean, and it's kind of crazy
Yeah.
for her and I to meet, like that, and I didn't know her back then. But it is amazing. I remember when I told her that I thought I fall in love with her, and she told me, she says, "Well, no, I said, I think I'm gonna marry you." And she looked at me and said, "Huh, I ain't never getting married again."
Again, I was still married.
With the boyfriend.
I was married to my husband, and I had a
A
boyfriend
boyfriend.
that
Yeah.
was out of town that lived in that same house that I had seen him in. So he was just out of town. He was just gone. So that was just my red light to go and be with him, and I was a mess. I was a mess for sure. But anyway, this guy ended up coming back, and matter of fact, Greg hung him out of we were on the second floor or third floor, I'm not sure, but he hung him out of a third floor because he had hit me. I was in a abusive relationship with this guy, but I never would say that he would beat me up because I was a fighter. So I would just say that we fought a lot, but I ended up we ended up moving to Orange for a minute, and I want to jump to this because this is very important in what's going on today.
Before you get there, can you tell us what you feel like contributed to you? You said you were prostituting when you met him. Can you tell us how you got there, or what you feel like contributed to you being a prostitute when you met him?
No, I never even thought about it, because I too always had good jobs. I always had let's say male jobs. I was a like electrician's helper. I would get up on the poles. I worked for the cable company in Houston, Fibercon. But at a point where I had money, and I was introduced to crack cocaine by my ex-husband, may he rest in peace. And we end up separating, and then I was home one day from Houston, working from Houston, and I just got caught up and got stuck for the very first time. And so then I run out of money, and this girl say, "Well, I know I can get some money." And then I was with the very nice guy at first, which I thought, okay, well, he could be my sugar daddy. That wasn't the case because he dated all the girls. So I just ended up going get some more money and following the girls, I just ended up following them, and there I went, that's all I can say, following somebody else because I wanted some more drugs, and I had been so used to having money. I'd never been like broke, and I ended up broke because I was smoking dope. So that's how that happened. Yeah. But when I met him, and when I met him, I ended up in treatment again. And when I got out of treatment, he asked me to move with him to Orange, and I stayed there for or like maybe 2 weeks or so before he was back in jail because because he had just got out of prison. So I moved to Orange with him, and she ended up back in jail, and I ended up in Orange, by myself. And lots of things happened. I ain't even gonna go there, but when he did get out, we were on the corner, and we were waiting on anything to happen. And this lady came. She was dressed in all white. Her head was covered, and she came to us and she said, "You two are gonna be married." And she said that you are gonna be telling your story.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. She prophesied to us.
Thousands of people. And I looked at him and like, there I went again. I ain't finna marry you, And anyway, I think a vehicle came and she prayed for us. I think she laid hands. I don't remember her laying. She never touched. No, she never touched it. But but she kept saying, "In Jesus' name, in Jesus' name." And then a car came, and then I looked back and I say, "Where did she go?" And he was like, "I don't know. We never knew where she came from, and we never knew where she went."
And never saw her again.
And never saw her again.
Wow.
Never saw her again.
And I want to say she was an angel. I don't
Come on. Unaware.
And we
Woo,
were
come on.
standing on the corner of a funeral home, and there was a church right across the street.
What you got to choose, death or life?
Oh my, come on.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
And we were on the side of the funeral home, right there on the corner, on side of the funeral home. And right in front of us was a church.
Man.
Yes.
I know. And today, and I've always, matter of fact, this is the first time that we were able to tell about that lady prophesying to us. So
Wow.
we say, we are so excited, and we're, grateful that somebody want to hear about little old us. Yeah, we testify, but we keep it to a minimum, and and to be able to sit down and actually, tell people where we come from and the things we went through. But look at us now, because they said that we would never amount to anything. We were never going to be anything. But God said, "Watch this." Hallelujah.
So how did you, Greg, how did you get clean?
I went into treatment so many times. And I'd stay clean for a while, and then I'd go back out, because I like getting high. I'm just gonna put it to you like that. I love getting high.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was fun. I would have fun when I got high. But then one day it wasn't fun no more. I worked, and when I got out of work, it was another job, getting high.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It became around the clock. And it just got worse and got worse. And then I would always say, I'm gonna stop doing this. I'm gonna stop doing this. And one day I just knew, I can't do this. I can't keep doing this, expecting something different to happen. We'd have cars, apartments, houses, and everything would just go. I'd end up going to jail, going to prison, or whatever. And then Tory would be there, and we writing and getting letters and sending commissary money, and get out, start all over again. Staying clean when I get out. I'm gonna do the right thing. Then I end up going back doing the same thing. And then I just got tired of it. I mean, it was just, but I couldn't stop. It's a vicious cycle. Just kept going round and round and round. And so I had a homeboy, Pastor Jesse Mahoney. And I had-
Okay, because when you said Orange, Texas, I was like, why does that sound familiar? I know somebody else from Orange.
Yeah.
Right.
And I've been knowing Jesse since we were little kids. And he called my sister one day and asked my sister where I was. And she told him I was in Beaumont. So she gave him my number and he called me and he said, Greg, he said, what you doing? I said, man, I'm working and doing what I do. So he said, well, you want to stop doing what you do and come up here to where I'm at and try to get yourself together? And at first I told him, yeah. Then I turned around and told him, no, I got a job and I say I'm gonna beat this thing. But then I couldn't do it. I went back to jail again. Matter of fact, the police pulled me over. They found, and I know this was God because I didn't have no dope. This policeman pulled me over. And so I just kept driving till I got to my apartment. So I pulled up in an apartment and I'm hollering for Toyre to come out the door. So she could, because there was a bunch of police. So this man gets in the back seat while he tell me don't get out. And he gets in the back seat on the floor. And this man pulled a piece of dope from under his watch and said, look what I found. I knew I was going to jail then.
Wow.
And I know with everything in me, I didn't have nothing. Because it's one thing my dad always told me. He said, Greg, he said, if you get in trouble and you didn't do it, I'm going to be behind you 100%.
That's
But
what our parents
and he said, but if you did it, I want you to tell me the truth. And I've always lived by that. Every time I went to jail, my daddy would ask me, did you do it? And I tell him, yeah, daddy, I did it. He said, okay. He said, that's it. He said, you got to, face the music. I'll send you some commissary money, But this one time, I knew I didn't have no dope. And I knew what nothing in that car. So anyway, I ended up going to jail. And when I got out, Jesse called me. He said, Greg, you ready now? And I told him, yeah.
You went a whole year.
Yeah. Yeah. It was wild. But
Yes,
I told him, yeah. And I was just telling him, yeah, quit calling me, in other words, but I didn't want to be rude about it. But anyway, so I went back to jail again.
Wow.
And I was in the county. And when I got out,
my mother had died.
Yeah, my mother-in-law had passed away.
And I was living in her
brand
new house.
And her mother had just had a house built. And so when I get out, Toyre was already there. And she came to pick me up, went home, and it started all over again. So she and what happened was we were getting high. She was getting high and I was getting high, but we never would get high together.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna put it like this. Demons. They say when you stop and you start back, you take on 7 more worse than. And see, 2020 is hindsight. And I know for a fact that I used to see things and I would scare her. I mean, she would be terrified.
Petrified.
And
because he would take me and move me around.
They'll run behind her and stuff like that. I'll be looking for them. Yeah. Because I know what I'm seeing. But I didn't. At first, I thought I was going crazy. And I said, no, I ain't going crazy. I know what this is. And then later on, she told me she called the police on me. That's what she did.
I was petrified.
And that's the first time in like 20 years she ever called the police on me. And I knew.
Because you were afraid of his demons.
I was afraid I was going to kill you. Yeah, because I have already stabbed him. I'm telling him, just stay away from me. Just leave me up. Just get away from me because you're scaring me. And I'm going to kill you before you kill me. So I would stab him. I stabbed him 4 times, separate times.
Wow.
And I knew something was wrong with him. He was possessed because who's going to charge a butcher knife? And I'm telling this man, stay away from me. And he'd still be and never let the pipe go. And I'm telling Greg, and then, then one time I called the police because my sister and my nephew was in there and in the house. And I'm telling Greg, calm down. I didn't want her to see him like that. And she did. And she grabbed her son, and yeah, that devastated me because I didn't ever want her to see him like that. And she said, he got to get out of here. He can't be in here with my son, then so he had to get out. And we separated, and I wanted a divorce. We were headed for divorce. I wonder if I can get my money back.
I don't know.
I paid $275 for this attorney to take my case.
So in the meantime, I'm living in a dope house because I left peacefully. And I'm living in a dope house. So I'm still going to work every day. I'm seeing her at work.
We
work at the same place. I'm a chef at the Holiday Inn. I'm getting high at work.
In the freezer. I never knew it until we got here.
And I take dope with me to work. I'm getting high at work, and I'm doing my work. And I'm high. And so one day she saw me and she said, Greg, are you high? And I said, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. I said, just leave me alone.
We weren't together, so it was,
So after all of that, Jesse called me again. He said, Greg, you ready? He said, I'm coming down to Orange in about a week or so. I said, yeah, Jesse. I said, when you come, you get ready to go back to San Antonio, come pick me up. So he said, I'm serious. I say, I'm serious too. Because
after you did look down the barrel of that shotgun?
Yeah. After this guy tried to shoot. No, Jesse was coming anyway.
Oh, okay.
So the night before Jesse was supposed to pick me up, this guy that he used to bring me to work, I paid him to bring me to work. He sold dope. And we at this dope house, and him and his girlfriend, which is the lady whose house we were in, her daughter, it was her son-in-law, I guess you could say. And he was full of something. But anyway, I wasn't even high at the time. And he was drunk or something. I said, man, just hold on. The next thing I know, he pulled a shotgun on me. And I'm trying to get away and fail. His girlfriend, the lady's daughter, he got the shotgun finna pointed at me. I guess he's gonna pull the trigger. The girl, she's 7 months pregnant. She dove on top of me. She's pregnant with his kids. She was gonna have twins. And she dove in front of me, dove on top of me, and I'm on the floor. And he did not pull the trigger. And her stepfather got the guy and pulled him away with the shotgun. And I got up and ran out of the house.
Jesus.
The next day, Jesse picked me up and brought me to San Antonio. And when he got there, I was asleep and they woke me up because I'd already told them I got a ride coming and I'm finna go because I had my stuff already packed up. And Jesse asked, they came outside and Jesse asked them, did they want to pray? So he prayed with all three of us, with her stepdad and her mother. They were standing there, me and Jesse. And they cried. They cried the whole time. I don't know if they cried because they didn't want me to leave.
With all that working money.
Because they didn't want me to leave, or they cried because they felt, the anointing of the Lord at the time. So I got to San Antonio, it was a Sunday. And I was in such bad shape, I didn't even know it. You're the last one to know. I couldn't even hardly walk up the stairs in the back of the spiritual growth center. But I remember going to church that night when we got there. Bishop preached.
So Toyre went with you? Y'all went together?
No,
we were separated.
You
That's
saying that you couldn't walk? Were you going through withdrawals?
No, I mean, I had been up for like 2 weeks.
Oh,
Okay, so
okay.
physically, you couldn't physically walk up the
I
stairs.
mean, I'd
okay?
go to work, get off, get high. By the time I look up, it's time to go back to work. And I'm doing this over and over and over again. And to stay up at work, I'm getting high at work
To stay up.
to stay up
Right.
and do my job.
But when he went to San Antonio, I was like, good. I can get high in peace. That's how I looked at it, because I would trip even if he wasn't around me, because I had been so traumatized. He had traumatized me so much. So anyway, he left them demons because I was at my girlfriend's house getting high where I thought I was comfortable, and I was tripped in. Now this is like maybe 3 weeks after he left, and my girlfriend told me, she said, this is the last time you're gonna get high. She told me that, but I was tired anyway, going home, and I was the only one at my mother's house by then. And that morning I had dope, I had money because it was income tax time, and then my vacation, and I just had a lot of money. And cigarettes, weed, I had, but I couldn't get high no more. And who goes to sleep with all that? I've never gone to sleep with so much. So anyway, something woke me up, said, get up. And I got up and I was like, Mama, I say, Mama, I'm gonna rest. I thought it was my mama. And I knew nobody else was in the house. And I looked around. So I got back in the bed, and just as I dozed off again, the voice said, get up now. And Greg had been telling me about this place and but I was packed to go to Florida. I was going to go to Florida with a girlfriend of mine. So I was packed to go to Florida. And anyway, shoot, he said, get up and get up now. And Greg was telling me something about San Antonio and this and that. And I said, well, I'm going to San Antonio because this house is, talking to me and everything. I called the dope dealer and told the dope dealer to come get me. And here, take this dope and this money, $40 and this and that. Take me to go get my eyeglasses. Take me to go to my job. And matter of fact, I quit my job. Now, why? I was just going to come for a couple of days or whatever, I thought. And I even grabbed my medical records. Okay, who does that just to go for a couple of days? Right. So anyway, I went to the bus station. I come to talk to Desiree, Eldris Desiree, and shoot, I ended up coming to this place, and she was the first Jesus that I saw. And they let me visit with Greg. But 30 days after I got here, I say, Greg, so you ready to go home? He say, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. And then, okay, I stayed 30 more days. So that 60th day, I said, you ready now? He say, we ain't going nowhere. Then it's turned from me to I ain't to we ain't. So, and that was, shoot, his spiritual birthday was on 28th. And mine
January?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been here 4 years.
And mine is March 5th.
Yay.
Yeah. So,
and how long ago was that? So how many years is it? How many years are we celebrating?
4 years. We've
4?
been in San Antonio.
I've been here 4 years.
We've been in San Antonio 4 years. I had planned on staying 4 days.
And see, when I came here, I took a leave of absence from my job because I had a pretty good job. I cook, and I was a cook at the Holiday Inn, and I took a leave of absence for 30 days, and I was going to stay 30. And that was it. I was staying 30 days. I told Jesse, I'm staying 30 days, and I'm gone. He said, okay. He said, just don't tell nobody. So I didn't tell nobody. But then when I got saved and filled with the Holy Ghost, and I saw what was going on and how things were going for me right then at that church, I called her. You know, I told her, I said, I'm not never coming back to Beaumont. I'm staying right here. This is where Jesus brought me. This is where I'm going to stay. And I still feel like that today.
So now,
tell us about your Golden Triangle Ministry.
yes.
Okay. It's, well, we go back. Well, we hadn't been back since the pandemic started, but right before the pandemic, we go down to Beaumont in that area and talk to people that we know. People who are, people who are still out there doing the same things that we were doing, and tell them, you know, about this good life that the Lord has given us. And, you know, and just witnessing to let them know that they don't have to live like that no more. You know, that there's something better. God has so much more for us than to be running around in circles, getting high and doing the wrong thing and getting in trouble. Because the devil really wants to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's the bottom line, you know. And we try to bring back as many people as we can when we do go. And, you know, but I know God is going to do something great in this time, soon as this all blows over. And I can't wait to get back down there to witness, to let those people know, let them see, you know. That's the biggest testimony that we can have, you know, to let them see us not doing what we used to do.
Yeah, they saw us and they were going.
Because we went down there once before.
Yeah.
And, we spoke at this place where everybody, mostly the homeless people who are out on the streets doing their own thing, where they go to eat lunch at. And this pastor that named Jordan Burton, I'll never forget him. He was the best man at our wedding. And he died this past year from COVID. And he was always on the blocks trying to help somebody. And
he would pray for them after we talked to them and pray for them. They still call us, and you know, we pray for them and all. And we've had about 15 guys from Beaumont come in, and about 5, maybe 6 women, and one from Houston, and you know, a couple of maybe 5 guys finished the whole program. Chris is still here. Chris Holman, he's still here, and he said he ain't going nowhere. And when we go back to preach, he going with us. And you know, and you know, a couple.
Where are you going? Where do you guys?
They left, you know. So the ladies, we hadn't had one to stay yet. It was that one that finished the program, but I ain't heard from her anymore. But we do prison ministry, writing, because we have a couple of them that we used to get high with. And matter of fact, one of the drug dealers that used to sell us drugs, he's on our prison list. And you know, just when they get out, we just give them another option. You know, so that's, you know, we're letting them know, just being a witness and just letting them know, look at us, you know, God did it for us.
Right. So
He'll do it for you.
One of the questions we always ask is, what would you want our listeners to know? If you could say anything to our listeners or to encourage someone that may stumble upon this, who knows when, what would you want to say to them?
Just like what I just said. If God can do it for us, he can do it for you.
Be willing.
You have to be willing. And, you know, that's it. You know, you just have to have a made up mind, though, you know, and you don't have to live that way. You ain't got to live that way, you know, unless you want to. Sometimes, you know, just what you want to do.
True.
You feel like you're not finished.
And even if your mind is made up, if you just come and just sit down and listen and see for yourself what's going on, you're not going to want to leave, and you're going to want this life.
Yeah.
It was just, everything's just unbelievable. I was raised in a church just like him. My mother was a tither. I even had the audacity to be tithing when I was doing my mess. But I didn't understand that I was supposed to be tithing from the gross and not the net. And that's
Come on,
what I
that's
was
a whole
doing. I
nother
mean,
sermon.
you know, sometimes what she like,
Revelation, that's a
Another
different
whole
one.
service.
that's a whole and girl, you know me. Yeah, so I would do that. And and I thought that I was covered, you know.
So I want to make mention, and in your bio, we noticed and we read that you're graduates of Sonship School of the Firstborn. Myself and my sister both are graduates of the Sonship School of the Firstborn. We graduated in 2009. And so that's awesome to be able to even share this platform with other individuals that have gone through the Sonship School of the Firstborn, being made into able ministers, right? Yeah. And so I just wanted to make mention of that. I didn't want to make light of that because again, it's no accident or coincidences, right? That's the Sonship School of the Firstborn to represent. And so even in that, if you are connected to a CCI ministry, we encourage you to find out about the Sonship School of the Firstborn.
Yes.
We want to give you guys an opportunity to talk a little bit about GT Sweet Tooth. How did that get started and what's going on with that?
This is good. Now, look, a lot of times when we were in prison locked up at the same time. And Gregory would write me letters and he would put this G and this T together. So then now you can get that.
No,
I just wanted to let you know where the logo came from.
The logo came from. Okay.
Yes.
So she put that together. But while I was in the spiritual growth center, you know, I used to tell them about pecan candy. And they would always say, well, Greg, why don't you make some one day? And I never had the opportunity to make it. So I made some one day and I gave some to Bishop. Bishop called me to his office and he told me, he said, son, he said, you need to be making this and selling it. I say, no, Bishop. I say, this is just something I do. He said,
we would give it to for the bazaars and stuff.
And I just give it away. So, and I mean, time went on, and I'd always bring him some once we moved out, and I'd bring him some on Sunday morning. And so he called me in his office again. He say, Greg, he say, sit down. I say, okay, Bishop. And I sit down in his office. He said, now listen to me. He say, have I ever lied to you? I say, no, Bishop. He say, do you believe me when I tell you something? I say, yes. He said, you need to start selling that candy. And it took off. And I mean, it took off. I mean, people was all from all over the United States. I mean, yes. I was like, what is going on? New York, California, Dallas,
Georgia, I mean,
everywhere.
It was crazy.
That's awesome.
And I went back and I told him about it. He said, now you see, all that money you didn't miss, you could have, I told you, I told you. But I love my Bishop, though. I miss him so much. I mean, so much that he has imparted into me. And I mean, just by being able to sit down and talk with him. You know, I used to just sit in his office and talk about anything, sports, Jeopardy, everything, you know, all that kind of stuff, because he was a Jeopardy man too. But I never got to sit there and watch Jeopardy with him and answer those questions with him. I mean, boy, I used to have some fun with that man.
Right.
Yeah.
So any final words before we close out this session? Anything else you feel like you want to share? Anything you want to say before we end this session?
Well, Lekia, I'm gonna need you to get with them to give me some of those pecan candy.
Got it.
Girl, I'm telling you, girl, you're not gonna be I can't even eat them because when I eat, I can't stop. So I just don't eat them.
Okay, so I'm gonna just put this little nugget out there. Can you somehow make some sugar-free?
We've been trying.
We've
been in the laboratory trying.
I've been trying.
Can't find the right.
It don't work.
You can't find the right mixture for it.
All right.
We're gonna keep trying though.
Perfect. Well, keep us posted, and thank you again for joining us on the Unapologetic.
Thanks for having us. It was fun.
Thank you so much. We will be in touch and we will absolutely let you know when the episode will be airing, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you guys. You're a beautiful couple.
Thank you. And
Have a
Lekia,
nice
you tell my little
evening.
partner I still got something for him for his birthday.
Oh,
Jaden.